Alright, welcome back YouTube. So, we got another mini set review here. We got the Mage and Hunter cards here, and then we are also reviewing the Death Knight / Hunter ones as well. But let's go ahead and get right into this. We're gonna, go over all 6 cards, talk about them, maybe, discuss how good they're gonna be or whether or not they're gonna be pretty bad, and also just my opinions on them and how I think they're gonna, potentially make a deck or not. Let's go ahead and get into it. First one we got is Mantle Shaper. It's a 5 mana 5/5 Elemental and Naga, which I don't think we've seen this pairing before, but that's pretty cool. And its card text reads cost 1 less for each spell you've casted while holding this. Now, we've seen a lot of cards with this effect, but the first one that kind of comes to mind is Cultivation, and that one doesn't require it to be in hand to make it be cheaper. And honestly, I would have been okay if this costed like 7 or 8 mana, and if it had that same effect. I think being able to top deck this and just have a 0 mana 5/5 that also just kind of counts towards elemental stuff would be really important actually, because a lot of the neutral elementals that came out in Showdown the Badlands has that effect where if you played a elemental the past turn or whatever, you get that bonus effect, right? So it kind of had that type of style. I think would be a little bit better, but the fact that it's limited to it being in your hand kind of brings down the power level a bit, and the fact that it doesn't have rush, it doesn't have charge, it doesn't have any other additional keywords to it, it just kind of seems like a vanilla minion that you probably won't be discounting that much. I mean, if anything, it's still okay to be a 3 mana 5/5. You cast 2 spells. Think about it. You open this up and you might have a coin and another spell. You get coin, another card or another spell, and then be for 3 mana 5/5. And I don't think Mage or Hunter is going to really be too impacted by that. And the fact that this is a solid card for both classes because they have a lot of very cheap spells that typically have pretty high impact. I think this card will see some play. I don't think it's going to be like too defining or it's going to be too insane, but I think this will be a pretty solid addition to Mage and Hunter, especially thinking that there's going to be 3 sets rotating out, and this card will definitely see play probably when those sets rotate out. So I personally think this is probably a 2 or 3 star card. It's not going to be too terrible, and the artwork for it's pretty cool. Up next is Elemental Companion. It's a 3 mana spell, summon a random Elemental Companion. Now, got this right here. These are elemental companions here. Let's see, Misho, however you pronounce it. It's a 3 mana 4/4 elemental. Can't be targeted by spells or hero power, so that's kind of a passive ability. And then there's Hefar, 3 mana 4/2. Your spells cost 1 less. And then Luke, or Luck, I don't know how to pronounce that. 3 mana 2/4, spell damage +2, and they're all considered elementals. Now, this kind of seems a bit strange because this is in comparison to Animal Companion, and they have Huffer, 4 mana 2, or it's a 4 attack 2 with charge. And then there's Misha, that's a 3 mana 4/4 taunt, and then there's the other one, which is a 2/4 that gives +1 attack to everything, right? Now this is like kind of in comparison to that card here, and I think this is much weaker. When I first saw this card on Instagram, I was like, this is a really kind of a cool card, but then when I was looking at it, I realized that it wasn't attached to this. I thought this was like a separate card, like this was something they could just run in the deck, and I was like, that's actually not too bad for an elemental, and I was like, they could probably play that, but the fact that you have to have a chance you can only summon it from this, it seems significantly weaker in my opinion here. Really the only one that like I don't see Mage or Hunter using this. Like Mage might use it like in a Highlander list maybe just to fill up a gap, but like spending 3 mana to get something that does +2, I think most Mage Hunter decks, if they are going to be doing any type of spell damage stuff, they're going to be playing like those Battlecry stuff that automatically applies it, or they just play Sif, like this, like Sif, or then, for Mage, and then if you compare it to, the 4 mana Legendary Hunter, or even the 2 mana Rare guy that just buffs your Arcane spells, like this just is irrelevant at that point. And then Misho, or how do you pronounce this one? I think this one's honestly the better one out of these two, because I mean a 4/4 that can be targeted by stuff is not terrible. If these had like keywords to it on top of these abilities, I think these would be a lot better. Like if this had taunt, this had rush. I guess maybe not rush. I don't know, something along the lines to make this a bit more impactful. I think this would make a little bit more sense. But I don't know. Judging that this came out, it makes me wonder if Animal Companion or whatever that Hunter one is, if that one's gonna get a buff, because Animal Companion doesn't even see play in Hunter, or I don't think I've seen it since a year and a half ago. Like I don't think I've ever seen it be played in like a long time. So them making this makes me does not think this is gonna be Rain and Hunter. This probably is gonna only be a Mage only type card. But But honestly, in my opinion, like after all this, I definitely think that this is probably a 1 or 2 star card. Like this might be like solid in arena or something. This definitely won't get played in wild at all, and so I just don't see this card being really that big of an impact at all. Up next is Summoning Ward, another secret for Mage. It's a 3-mana secret. When your turn starts, summon a copy of your highest cost minion. Now this is a kind of a good and bad thing because we know that Objection is going to be rotating out. I'm pretty sure. I think it should be. Yeah, I think that was a Sunken City one, or Sunken City secret. But Summoning Ward, I don't think this card's very great. The secret's not good. Because you know the fact to it is, it says when your turn starts, that means that you don't get attack with it. And majority of the time, your opponent, if they know that's the last secret, or if they tested for all the secrets and that's the last one, they're probably gonna already trade into the better minion that you have and just leave you with something small on the board, or completely clear your board, and the secret is just gonna sit there. It's extremely slow, and it's not gonna be very impactful on your opponent's turn, which I kind of secrets were always meant to be more impactful on your opponent's turn rather than yours. I think, like, depending on the type of like style. Like Paladin was more on your side, while Mage was always interrupting your opponent's stuff, and same thing with like Rogue. But this is a very passive secret that sometimes you would have a big payout if they forget to trade into, like, say your Titan or whatever for Mage. But like, I don't see this really being played, and I mean probably discovering it would be better than actually main decking it, but this is a pretty bad secret. Like, I don't see this card, like, everyone controls the board pretty hard, and there's so much cheap removal in the game right now that it's just not going to have an impact, I don't think. So this is probably just a 1-star card in my opinion here. Let's see, up next we got the Hunter and Death Knight cards here. This is pretty nice stuff here. Well, actually just one of them is Shimmer Shot. It's a 1-mana arcane spell, which is big. Deal 1 damage to a random minion of that cost. That's a really insane card, I think. Especially with, Hunter already having a lot of arcane buffs. Naturally, this card is going to be insane. Now, I will say, I'm pretty sure a lot of those buffs are in the Sunken City, if not the next set, before that. So this card is going to be good for like a month, and then when all that arcane buff stuff rotates out, this card will be bad. Unless they include a new way to buff up arcane stuff, that's the only way I could see this card being good. But until that happens, this card will be pretty insane. I mean, they'll be able to get this up to like what? I believe either 4 or 5 damage, depending. Yeah, 4 or 5. So you're gonna be getting a 4 or 5, maybe if you're lucky, a 6-cost minion for 1 mana. I mean, this will definitely break Hunter for probably a month or so. This is probably a 3 or 4-star card right out the gate. I don't think this is like game defining yet, because it's definitely not a 5-star card. But especially when all the sets rotate out, this card's gonna get like significantly worse. But this is really cool, and the art for it's really nice. Okay, up next is Mismatch Fossil. It's a 3-mana spell. Discover a beast and an undead. Swap their stats. This is such a strange card. I don't know why they made this. Like, if I'm sitting here looking at this, like, most beasts are pretty expensive and most undead are very cheap, and so you're basically swapping something expensive for some really bad stats, and then something cheap for some maybe good stats. Kind of seems a bit weird. I mean, it would have been kind of interesting. Like, I don't even know how to like think about this card. Like, every beast and undead swap their stats. Like what would you be even looking for? As like for like, there's no way to like predict what beasts and undead, right? And like, there's no way to. Yeah, I just don't see this card being used at all. This is a 1-star card. This is bad. This might be interesting in like arena or something. Like Wild's not going to use this. This is just a really low, high level card. And it is cool. You do discover 2 things, but like you get like a cheap 1/2 undead, and then you pick Crush, and then now you get a what? 2-mana 8/8 maybe, and then I could see like how maybe swapping stats for something cheap and getting a big stat, but like relying on the fact that there's so many beasts in the pool and so many undead in the pool, and the stats all vary, and there being very few that actually have a lot of natural like good stats, pretty unlikely. Okay, so yeah, that's a 1-star card. That's pretty poor. Obsidian Reverent is up next. It's a 6-mana 4/6 elemental taunt death rattle. Summon 2 random death rattle minions that cost 3 or less. I mean, that's kind of interesting. I don't know really how I feel about this. I'd say the artwork really really cool. I can't wait to see the golden for this. I think this would be a really dope golden. But like aside from that, Death Rattle minions, there's not like too many that like really stick out to me that like you really are like looking to like find. Like this could definitely be played in like a Highlander, Hunter, or Death Knight list, and they'll be happy for it. It's just gonna be a card that kind of sticks on the board and gives you more, value. But like since there's not like a very strict pool of Death Rattles that are below 3 mana that are gonna be like pretty insane. Like I can imagine hitting like what a Loot Hoarder, maybe a Chillfall Baron would be pretty good off of that because it is a 3-cost Death Rattle, yeah, 3 or less, and it's not specified if it like the type of minion, so it can't be undead, just a Death Rattle guy, right? So Chillfall and Baron is something that I think about. Loot Hoarder's one. Here, let me pause this real fast and check some other Death Rattles. Okay, so here's some Death Rattles that are at the 3 cost. Like I said, the Chillfall and Baron is not too bad to get. Deathbringer can't be terrible. Paraslizer, Wolvane Skeleton, even Arcane Splitter is not terrible to get. I'm not going to even talk about that. These Mage ones right here, or Priest ones here, I don't think that's actually too bad. Oh, you don't really want to get that one unless, there might be a shadow spell you might have by chance or something. It is Death Knight, so there is a possibility, right? And then, like, if you look at it, maybe, Hainan Duels would be kind of like, crazy get off of that. Brilskin Zombie. Even like the new Iridescent Grey Worm or something, that could be kind of cool. Treasure Guard, but I mean, this is going to be rotating out here. And then if we just go down to 2 mana here, all the way back up here. This guy right here is not bad. Harbinger of Winter, probably not that. Groovy Cat might be interesting depending. Well, give more attack. I don't know if this buffs up the Hunter hero power, but if you're getting that off of, for Hunter, this might buff your attack. You might have comment down below if this is actually a thing or if they've had a. I don't know if it works or not, but if that works for Hunter, that'd be actually kind of insane to get. If you get Buzzard from it, that's kind of not terrible. 2 Mage Arcane spells, so this is kind of impactful. Audio Splitter might not be bad. I mean, this is probably irrelevant. Wouldn't be too, my Eater probably isn't too bad. Just cost of all Death Rattle cards in your deck, so getting the Rotten Rodent's not bad. Elemental Geode is really nice as well. That's, tempo there. I'm not going to have too many taunts here, but like Blood Mage Sanos, Loot Hoarder, Bladed Beetle, even like getting Nerubian Egg is probably not bad either. And then, let's see, 1 cost. Death Rattles, let's see here. This one's probably going to be pretty bad to get, but the stats aren't going to be bad. There's Free Spirit as well, but Free Spirit's not going to be really impacting in those decks. Lingering Zombie's not bad either. This thing sticks on the board for a long time. Batty Gas, but that's going to be rotating out, I believe. Chef is more, stuff to get. Don't really, that's not an actual Death Rattle guy there. That's not an actual Death Rattle. Phaleg's not bad to get either. Miracle Salesman, this at least, gives you a chance to trade stuff away. So, after, like, looking at that, it actually kind of changes my opinion on Obsidian Reverent. There's a lot of really nice ones. Now, that it was just neutral stuff. Oh, no, that was all everything. It wasn't just neutral. Okay, Obsidian Reverent, I like this card. There's a lot of really high or really good valued, Death Rattle minions that are 3 or less. I definitely think this card could be played and be fine with it. I'm gonna give this a 2 or 3 star card. This is not bad at all. I think that's pretty solid. I like that quite a bit. Yeah. So here's oh wait, there's still some more. I forgot. There's also Hunter or not Hunter. Demon. Death Knight and Paladin. I definitely forgot to say that at the very beginning of the video. Yeah, I like this card quite a bit. So here, let's go over here and this one here. Okay, now Death Knight and Paladin. Definitely forgot about these here. Okay, so the first one, Quartzite Crusher, or Quartzite Crusher. I don't know how to pronounce that. 4 mana, 3/3. Blood and Frost, Lifesteal. Freeze any character damaged by your hero. Okay, so that's kind of cool. It's has lifesteal to it, so this is gonna be kind of nice for Blood, Death Knight, and it freezes, so it's a mixture. This is not a bad rainbow card, I don't think. It does kind of think that it costs 4 mana for just that, and I don't think the effect is too insane either. But I don't know. This probably will see play. I don't really have an opinion on this card yet. And reading some comments on it, it didn't seem like people were too thrilled, and weren't too excited about it. This might just turn to the fact that there's just better Death Knight weapons to run over this. Like you're probably gonna run the one mana 1/3 one that shuffles plagues into your opponent's deck, probably over this. If you're running a Highlander list, this probably will just get stuck in there just to have an extra weapon that could, be of some value. But aside from that, I don't really see this card being too insane in standard, especially wild's not gonna be really good either. Arena though, I could see this being a solid arena card though, but standard, this is probably a 2-star card unless there's some more support for it in like another set. Future, this might be a little bit better, but I only see this really being a 2-star card. Okay, up next is Prosthetic Hand. It's 3 mana, 3/1 mech. And this is the same thing as that 100 card, but it magnetize and reborn. Can magnetize to mechs or undead. So basically like copy that other hunter card where you could like, isn't it like beast and what is it, beast and something else? Let me double check this. Where's hunter at? Sure. 2 mana guy. So mechs and beasts. And this is a 2 mana one and it gets magnetic and rush. And in comparison to that, this one just gets magnetic and reborn. So I don't know if the reborn effect is a better keyword and that's why it costs 1 more. But I don't think this card is really all that insane. The fact that, a lot of like the mech support and paladins rotating out. So this is just a useless card for paladin. And Death Knight would much rather run something over this. I don't see this being played. And even in like an aggro list or something like that for like maybe paladin or even Death Knight, why would you spend 3 mana to magnetize onto something that's only going to stick on the board? There's so much silence and there's just clear after clear with removal. This is just not going to see play. This had like maybe a different keyword. Like I think rush is much more impactful than reborn is, I think, honestly, because rush you could react right away, and reborn, like a lot of times you're not going to have a secondary effect after that, so it's not going to do anything after. It's just going to sit on the board. So I don't really like this card very much. I think this is probably just a 2-star card too. It'll see maybe some play, but I don't see this being good at all. Up next is Mining Casualty. It's a 2 mana spell. Summon 2 1/1 Silverhand recruits with Death Rattle. Summon a 1/1 Frail Ghoul. Now, I look here. I'll pull up the Paladin cost. Where is it at? So let's see this guy right here. So it's a charge guy. So this has charge. So it's kind of interesting. So here, like immediately, this is just a very slow card. Like it has like a high return. But the fact that you can't rush in these 1/1 recruits right away and get the charge guys to do more, you're just playing this by itself, and there's not like a whole lot of like survivability if you play this card. Like if you play this card on turn 2, your opponent might not be able to remove one of them, but if they do, you just clear the board, and the next turn you just have some 1/1s that just get to attack for free. You don't even get the charge benefit from the Frail Ghoul right out the gate. And aside from that, it's just kind of I definitely think it's a really cool card. If these had rush, this card would be pretty insane. And I know a lot of people are saying like, oh, this card's gonna be nutty and stuff like that, and that people complaining like, does Paladin need any more support or like more insane cards? I think it's pretty generic. It doesn't have like a holy tag or anything like that. If I had a holy tag, maybe my opinion would be a little bit different. But it doesn't buff up your board at all. It just sums up recruits that can't even do anything right out the gate. And the fact that there's so much like just board removal, like there's that one Team Hunter card that deals 1 damage twice, like that just handles this completely for the same amount of cost because it's 2 mana to play that spell. So like it's just not. I don't think it's too impactful really. It might see some play, but I'm gonna have to probably get a 2-star card as well. It's not overly broken either. But yeah, I believe that's all the cards. So yeah, we're caught up now. But if you guys enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Go ahead and comment down your opinions on these 9 cards that we reviewed, and give me your opinions on what you guys think is gonna be good, what's gonna be relevant, what's not. But let me know down in the comments. Thank you guys for watching.